Sorry about that, folks. Just some small technical difficulties. We've got those fixed now. So, welcome back to the coverage of the 2021 FASCAR season. Today, we will be covering the 500 miles of Daytona qualifying with the dual races. Now, some things to get into before we start. The 500 miles of Daytona does qualifying differently than every other race on the calendar, where they have two pre-race duels that set the order for the 2021 500 miles of Daytona. So, looking at the normal qualifying session, which would normally decide the starting grid for the race, we have the top 20 points on the left, the rest of the field on the right. There are 43 entries into this year's 500 miles of Daytona, so 7 cars will fail to qualify. The only entrant that plans to run the full season that is not here is James Early's number 13, as Early had supply issues and was unable to make the race. Again, I apologize for the technical issues. We're just going to switch over to this view in order to keep the stream from switching like it has been. So, going through quick qualifying, Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick secured their respective poles for the both inside and outside lane. Thus, they do not need to compete in the duels. The rest of the field will be split by their times into two separate duels, competing for qualifying for the inside row of the grid and then the outside row of the grid in duel number 2. They will first be split from the top 20 group and then the rest of the field group. Just as a little bonus for those that finish in the top 20 points from the previous season. So, with that being said, we're going to go to duel number 1. So, the starting order for duel number 1 is Kurt Busch, followed by Chase Elliott, Cole Custer, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, Ryan Preece, Corey LaJoie, Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, Ryan Newman, Josh Bilicki, Anthony Alfredo, Quinn Half, Joey Gase, James Davidson, and Timmy Hill. So now we will head to the track in order to start the race. As you can see here, the field is entering into turn 3. As I mentioned, we have Chase Elliott and Kurt Busch on the front row of the grid, followed by Cole Custer, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex, Kyle Busch, Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, Ryan Preece, Corey LaJoie, Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, Ryan Newman, Josh Bilicki, Anthony Alfredo, Quinn Half, Joey Gase, James Davidson, and then the number 66 of Timmy Hill rounding up the grid. So, we are approaching the start-finish line. The pace car is about to peel away into the pits. There it goes. Kurt Busch will be taking the green flag. And the green flag is out, and away we go for the first duel for qualifying for the 500 miles of Daytona. Good start from everybody as they cross the line. No problems. We look back to the rest of the field, see them all grouped up 2 by 2. Now, the pit window for today's short race is approximately 5 to 7 laps, so all the competitors will be required to make one stop. And at Daytona, with the draft being so critical, as it allows a very nice slipstream down the straights, pitting alone or pitting in a group might make the difference whether they qualify for the race or not. As we complete the first lap, it looks like Cole Custer has worked his way up into first place, followed by Martin Truex, Kurt Busch, Eric Almirola, Chase Elliott rounding out the top 5. And as we look behind Kyle Busch, it looks like everybody is still in the main pack with the exception of the number 66 of Timmy Hill, which seems to be falling out of the draft. Unfortunately for Timmy Hill and MBM Motorsports, that is not a surprise as they are one of the more underfunded teams in FASCAR. Kyle Busch has a good run. The outside lane seems to be developing quite nicely, although Cole Custer looks to be playing both lanes as he now drops down to the inside for turns 3 and 4. And as they rocket back onto the front stretch to complete lap 2 of this 10-lap race, everything is going as standard. The strong front contenders have remained up in the front, while the back of the pack is jockeying to make sure they make this race. If the race was to end now, Timmy Hill in the 66, James Davidson in the 15, Joey Gase in the 19, and the number 52 of Josh Blicky would fail to make the 500 miles of Daytona. And it looks like Kurt Busch has managed to take his inside lane with Truex and Almirola up to the inside of Cole Custer. Let's see who has the better run coming out of turn 4. It looks to be Custer that maintains the lead on lap 3. Now, this type of racing is fairly typical for races here at the Daytona International Speedway, as often all of the field can be grouped up into one large pack. The really interesting part is when they decide to go 3 wide or when they decide to pit, as those tend to cause lots of cautions. And the pack behind the front 10 or 12 seems to have split up into a single groove track in order for them to all stay in the draft. As you can see far in the distance as we complete lap 4, Timmy Hill has sadly lost the draft. It is very unlikely that he will be able to find his way back up into the front in order to qualify for the race. Not really much action going on up in the front of the field as they seem content to just ride around until the pit stops in order to make sure that they have their best chance of qualifying for the race, as it looks like the single lane from the back of the pack has now shifted from the inside to the outside as we have the first 2 breaking away to pit. Looks like it's the number 52 of Balicki and then his teammate in the 15 of James Davidson. We go back to the front of the field with this fantastic rear view onboard shot from Kurt Busch's car. You can see the remainder 18 cars all grouped up 2 by 2, with the inside lane having a good run into and out of turns 1 and 2, but the outside lane, just with that a little bit more speed they can carry, passes them down the backstretch. Now this will be interesting as we are on lap 6, firmly in the pit window for this race. How many of these cars decide to dive down onto pit road? And we've got our answer. It seems to be the majority of them, with about 8 cars staying out. We go back to Cole Custer, who is the leader of this group. We take a look at pit lane here. Everyone's going down to find their stalls. Everyone in with seemingly no issues. Let's see what everybody does here. Looks like a 4-tire stop for most of the cars. Oh wait, they've only taken 2 tires, all right-hand side tires. As they power out of pit road, the first group that stayed out the last lap should be approaching the pit road, and here they come. Everyone else, minus Kyle Larson, is diving down to pit road. Kyle Larson with the audacious 8-lap strategy. saw Cole Custer throughout his pit stop. Seems to be fuel only for the number 41 of Cole Custer, as well as most of those still left on pit road. Now we'll go back to Kurt Busch to see where him and his group is as they come down through the tri-oval to take lap 9 of this race, or lap 8, correction. As most of the second group are still coming out back onto the track. Kurt Busch and his group have a line 4 deep, going around right around the outside of everybody. Off in the distance, you can see Custer, and it looks to be Ryan Preece hand drafting down the back straightaway, but there's 4 of them in this next pack, and that will surely steamroll right around the outside. As we look back, you can see the spread out nature of the field now that pit stops have happened. Getting back up to speed is the most crucial thing in securing a draft partner in order to push up to the front, as Priest seems to dive down the inside of Custer, trying to take the lead for the penultimate lap of this race. And there you can see Kyle Larson, who's emerging from the pits. Will he hold up anybody? No, what a close call between Kurt Busch and Kyle Larson. Now we have a front 6 battling for the final 2 laps. Let's take a look back at the back of the pack to see who's in danger of not qualifying for today's race. It looks like we got 2 stuck in the back. Timmy Hill well off the pace, and Eric Jones seemingly out of the draft. It's a battle between the 52 of Bilicki, the 99 of Suarez, the 8 of Reddick for that final spot into the 500-mile race. We go back up to the front pack as they see the white flag. 1 lap to go. Who from these 6 will win the first race of the season for many of them? Others competed in the clash that was ran earlier this week. As 3 distinct packs have emerged, this front-running pack, the mid-pack, about 6 cars, and then the final pack, which contains the cars fighting for their spots in the main race. As they come down the backstretch for the final time, Ryan Preece is still in the front. Remember, this duel will set the grid for the inside of the 500 miles of Daytona. As they round through 3 and 4, Preece still has the lead with Kurt Busch in second place, Custer. And it looks like Ryan Preece is going to take the victory here in duel number 1. Now we go back to the back of the pack to see who's not going to qualify. Oh, and it looks like the 99 of Suarez, the 52 of Bilicki, the 43 of Jones, and the 66 of Timmy Hill will fail to qualify for the main race. Surprises. Quinn Houff and the underfunded 00 Starcom team finished 8th in this duel. Other notable surprises, the 38 of rookie Anthony Alfredo with his first FASCAR race also qualified for. And the number 53 of Joey Gase managed to drag his Rick Ware car into the race as well as his teammate, the number 15. Very surprising from Rick Ware, as those 2 are the part-time drivers this year. The 52 of Bilicki's their second full-time car. The major disappointments, though, have to be the 99 of Suarez and the 43 of Eric Jones, as Suarez, coming from a well-funded new team, definitely hoping to make the race. And the number 43, historic number 43 of Richard Petty Motorsports, is Eric Jones, have to be immensely disappointed with failing to make the race. Now, as these cars return to pit lane and get wheeled back into the garage, we will prepare for the second duel. And while we're still getting officially ready for the second duel, let's take a quick look at their official standings. As you can see, Ryan Preece finished first, leading 2 laps in the first duel. Cole Custer leading the most laps, however, finishing second. However, that's not the most important thing, as everybody 17th and up qualified for the main race, with the number 99 of Daniel Suarez, the 52 of Josh Bilicki, the 43 of Eric Jones, and the 66 of Timmy Hill, failing to qualify for the second race. Now looking at the starting lineup for duel number 2, we have the number 22 of Joey Logano, the number 2 of Brad Keselowski, the number 20 of Christopher Bell, the number 3 of Austin Dillon, the number 48 of Alex Bowman, the number 14 of Chase Briscoe, the number 12 of Ryan Blaney, the number 24 of William Byron, the number 21 of Matthew Di Benedetto, the number 34 of Michael McDowell, the number 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the number 42 of Ross Chastain, the number 51 of Cody Ware, the number 62 of Noah Gragson, the number 16 of AJ Allmendinger, the number 78 of BJ McLeod, the number 77 of Justin Haley, the number 33 of Austin Cindric, the number 96 of Ty Dillon, and the number 36 of David Reagan. With only 20 cars in this duel setting the outside lane for the 2021 500 miles of Daytona, only the top 17 qualify for the race, with only 3 cars DNFing, as this duel only has 20 cars. And now we go trackside in order to see the 2020 duel number 2. And we are trackside here with duel number 2 as the grid goes down the back stretch. As I mentioned previously, we have the Penske teammates of Logano and Keselowski on the front row, followed by the number 20 of Christopher Bell, the number 3 of Austin Dillon, the 48 of Alex Bowman, the 14 of Chase Briscoe, the 12 of Blaney, the 24 of Byron, the 21 of Di Benedetto, the 34 of McDowell, the 47 of Stenhouse, the 42 of Chastain, the 51 of Ware, the 62 of Gragson, the 16 of Allmendinger, the 78 of McLeod, the 77 of Haley, the 33 of Cindric, the 96 of Ty Dillon, and the 36 of David Reagan. Like the first duel, this will be a 10-lap race. Pit window remains the same, about 5 to 6 laps. Correction, 5 to 8 laps. As the pace car peels off into the pits, the 22 of Logano controls the field, and the green flag is out, and away we go for this duel number 2 at Daytona. And again, seems to be a good start with all the field getting away okay. As Joey Logano leads into turn 1. And Alex Bowman looks to be making it 3 wide underneath the 14 of Chase Briscoe, who's underneath the 3 of Austin Dillon. It's 3 wide in the back with Cody Ware passing to the inside of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as they throttle down the backstretch for the first time. Logano maintains his lead going into turns 3 and 4 with Keselowski back behind him to his outside. Blaney, Bowman, and Dillon 3 wide with Bowman stuck in the middle. McDowell looks to sneak by on the inside as well. As we look farther back, everyone's stabilizing into 2x2, but Bowman, McDowell, and Dillon are still 3 wide going across the stripe for the first time. Now Briscoe looks to go 3 wide again with Bell to his inside, and Bell cuts him off going into turn 1. Joey Logano leads the first lap of his duel. The outside lane seems to be forming up with them getting a stronger run coming off of turn 2. The rest of the pack seems to be forming 3 wide with Cody Ware and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to the inside of Matt Benedetto. And that's pushing them up the field. Blaney and Byron seem stuck on the outside with Austin Dillon falling back at a rapid rate. Bowman's looking to the inside of Blaney. And Logano maintains his lead going on to lap 3. As we go back to the back of the pack. See what's going on back here. It's 3 wide again with the 62, the 21, and the 12. With Ross Chastain wondering where to go. Cuts down to the inside. Austin Dillon falls in behind him with Allmendinger and McLeod behind. Although Allmendinger's going to go back out to the outside. It looks like the outside lane is the preferred lane as the two Penske teammates are linked up and trying to push ahead of the third place Michael McDowell. They succeed. Now the inside lane is forming up well as we rocket down to complete the third lap of this short race. Still 3 wide, a little bit farther back in the pack. Although most of the drivers have settled into a rhythm, trying to find their preferred lane, whether it be the inside or the outside. Logano continues to lead. It is not unusual to see 3 wide racing at Daytona, especially in the later stages of races, or in this case, the entire race of this duel, in order so that everyone has the best chance to make it into the race, as due to the pack racing nature, sometimes qualification comes down to thousandths of a second. As we look back, though, from the number 78 of McLeod, it looks like David Reagan has locked the pack. Just like Timmy Hill in the first duel, it will be very difficult for him to make this race. As we go on to lap 5, approaching the halfway point of this duel. Looks like Joey Logano continues to just control that pace out in front, just switching back and forth when he needs to. As we go 3 wide back here with the 96 of Ty Dillon, the 77 of Justin Haley, and the 78 of BJ McLeod. Although Dillon seems to fall back from a lack of help. The outside lane is seeming to form up here with significantly more cars than the inside, although Byron and Allmendinger are going to dive down to the inside in order to go through 3 and 4. And then they shift back to the outside for the front stretch as we have our first group of stops from the 21, the 78, and the 96. That might be a smart move from them as they all pitted together, meaning they will be able to bump draft each other coming out of the pits, which will allow them to have a faster outlap as we go back up to the main pack. The veteran AJ Allmendinger just sitting back, biding his time, waiting to see if any gaps open up for him to push his way up the field. As Michael McDowell, pushed by Christopher Bell, looks to take the inside line and the lead away from Joey Logano. Although, due to the pit window opening, he may not get credit for leading a lap as he dives into the pits. 5 cars stay out, them being the number 62, the number 42, the number 14, the 2, and the 22. Fords today are really showing some potential with the top 3 currently on track all being Ford. As the first batch of those who pit are coming down the backstretch. As the second group to pit has pulled into pit lane. The right sides go up to take 2 tires and away. Most cars only taking 2 and some fuel. Ryan Blaney is the only real notable slow pit stop as he seems to be dropping back the field behind the 77 of Justin Haley as they pull back onto the track. Take a look at that lead pack, and they have pulled down into pit road for their one and only stop this race. Although, Ross Chastain seems to be trying to pull a Kyle Larson and staying out an extra lap. Let's see if he can have the speed all by himself in order to qualify for the race. The strategy by the 21 and the 78 and the 96 seems to be working out as they pass several cars on the backstretch. Let's see if the undercut from that second group of pit stop of those who pit works just as well for them. As that lead group comes out of the pits, you can see the other cars approaching quickly as they are fully up to speed. There goes McDowell, right around the outside of Gregson. Will McDowell have enough to get all the way up to Logano, though? As he's approaching near full speed himself, with his teammate Brad Keselowski right behind him. We've only got 1 lap to go in this duel, as Ross Chastain is still sitting on pit road. The 4 behind Logano have formed up into a pack. At this moment in time, if the race finished, the number 12, the number 36, and the number 33 all would fail to qualify for this race. Correction, we have 2 laps to go as Ross Chastain passed the flag stand while on pit road. And here comes McDowell with Bell pushing to the inside of Logano. As Keselowski abandons his teammate and dives down into the inside lane, Logano is stuck by himself. Keselowski, though, is looking to make it possibly 3 wide going into 3 and 4. And he does. McDowell is playing the game of cat and mouse between the 2 lines to see who he needs to block more. As Logano falls back into line behind Bell. We've got the front pack of 5 and then the remainder of the field all single line together. About 10-ish seconds behind. Correction, about 4 seconds. I apologize for the timing not updating quick enough for you guys. As we go back to the front pack for the final lap of this duel. Logano and Bell with the run, pushing up to Keselowski. Briscoe dropping back to 5th. McDowell still out in front. Bell dives to the inside, but Logano chooses to stay with his teammate. Currently, the 77, 36, and 33 would fail to qualify for this race. Cindric falling way off the pack. And we come to the line. Michael McDowell's going to win his duel, followed by Keselowski, Bell, Logano, Briscoe. Cody Ware comes home a solid 6th place in his duel. We go back to the back of the pack. Chastain crosses Blaney. And sadness for Reagan, Haley, and then Austin Cindric as they fail to qualify for their first race of the season. And looking at the official results for the second duel, as you can see, McDowell finished in first with his push around the outside of Logano when coming out of the pits being the crucial move of that race. Followed by Keselowski, Bell, Logano, Briscoe, Cody Ware, Austin Dillon, Noah Gragson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Alex Bowman, Matty D, BJ McLeod, Ty Dillon, Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, AJ Allmendinger, and then the 3 D and Qs for the 500-mile race being David Reagan, Justin Haley, and Austin Cindric. Ultimately, a disappointing day for Cindric as he is running a Team Penske car, which would be expected to qualify for this race. AJ Allmendinger, Byron, and Blaney have disappointing days as they expected to be closer to the front of the field and certainly have their work cut up to make it to the front in the actual race. Notable surprises today, the 34 of McDowell as he finished first in his duel for the first time and will be starting 4th in the 500-mile race. Cody Ware is the other main surprise as he has qualified his way in 6th place, meaning he should be starting around 14th for the actual race. A very good day for the Rick Ware team as they had 3 of their 4 cars entered qualify for the race. Noah Gragson being the other notable surprise in the top half of the field with his Beard Motorsports car qualifying in the top 20. And now we look at the starting grid for your 2021 FASCAR 500 miles of Daytona. Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick having already secured their respective pole positions on the inside and outside rows for this race, followed by the results of duel number 1 on the left in the inside row, and then duel number 2 on the right in the outside row. So, Preece is 3rd, McDowell 4th, Custer 5th, Keselowski 6th, Busch 7th, Bell 8th, Truex in 9th, Logano in 10th, Almirola 11th, Chase Briscoe in 12th, Chris Buescher in 13th, Cody Ware in 14th, Kyle Larson in 15th, Austin Dillon in 16th, the surprise Quinn Half and Noah Gragson in 17th and 18th, Bubba Wallace in his first race for 23XI Racing, and their first race as a team, qualifying respectively in 19th place. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. qualifying in 20th. Ryan Newman qualifying in 21st. Alex Bowman in 22nd. James Davidson in his surprise qualification for the race in 23rd. Matty D in the number 21 Wood Brothers car in 24th. Anthony Alfredo in 25th. BJ McLeod for his and his team's debut in the FASCAR series in 26th. The number 9 of Chase Elliott, a disappointing 27th starting position, followed by the 96 of Ty Dillon. Another disappointing result for Kyle Busch as he starts 29th. Ross Chastain starts 30th in his number 42. Corey LaJoie qualifies in 31st, followed by Ryan Blaney in 32nd. 33rd goes to Joey Gase, with 34th going to William Byron. 35th to the number 8 of Tyler Reddick, and then rounding out the field for tomorrow's race will be the number 16 of AJ Allmendinger. Thank you so much for those watching, and I look forward to bringing the 2021 500 miles of Daytona to you the same time tomorrow.